Welcome, friends, and welcome, members of the one true religion, Mormonism, and understanding 90s men.
Named Chris.
Named Chris. Only Chris. I am an understanding 90s man. And welcome back to Sunday Cinematic Service, but we're not looking at a film. We're looking at 2 episodes of a long-running TV show that you might have heard of. It's called South Park, the long-running adult American animated comedy. And in particular, we're looking at kind of a historic couple of episodes, the first ever 2-parters the show ever did. The episode's called "Do the Handicapped Go to Hell?" That's part 1.
Yeah.
And then part 2 is called Probably.
Yeah.
So today,
episode 9 and 10 of season 4.
Yep.
Aired in 2000.
a different time for us all.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like an important episode. This, but this is the first 2-parter the show ever did. It's also kind of odd because it serves as a bit of a sequel to the South Park film, bigger, longer, and uncut.
Yep.
Which I suppose we'll have to talk about one day.
Yeah, I watched it recently and didn't really rate it. It's got a lot of funny jokes in it. It's just similar to the Simpsons movie, actually. There's no point of it being an actual film.
I think
it drags a little bit.
I mean, the one enjoyable thing I remember from the South Park film is the songs being really good.
Yeah, fuck your fucking uncle fucker.
Yeah.
That song is pretty funny.
And Blame Canada.
Blame Canada, yeah.
And like the Les Miserables song, the La Resistance.
Oh, yeah.
I remember the song that Saddam sings as well. Some people think that I am evil. They might be right. They might be right. I can't know what it's called now, but it's referenced in this episode.
Yeah.
And, coming back to this is also kind of the first South Park I've just watched in years, really. And we kind of give South Park a bit of a rough ride, especially in retrospect. But this episode kind of reminded me that back in those early days, when they got cooking with a concept, these guys were really funny.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
really, really funny.
Yeah.
Like, they kind of like before we kind of got weird in the whole odd libertarian, like strange worldview. I mean, obviously. I think the thing is with me and South Park these days, it's the episodes that rub me the wrong way really rub me the wrong way, and that's my overriding thought of the show.
Yeah.
I kind of forget that like a lot of them don't really deal in that like this side is right, this side is wrong. You should believe in nothing.
Yeah.
And when these guys are funny, they're really funny, which I think these 2 episodes really do apply there.
Yeah.
Like I actually really thoroughly enjoyed these 2, but a lot more than I thought I was going to.
Yeah, I thought they were absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, like really constantly funny.
Yeah.
Like so yeah, I suppose we'll kind of we'll set the stage a bit.
What happens?
So the boys, as in Cartman, Kyle and Stan and Kenny, are in church because Kyle's Jewish, and they start learning about sin and hell. And they basically start going to every effort to make sure that they don't go to hell, and it just keeps on escalating in kind of comedic South Park way, where the kids try every step out of hell. They go to more Sunday school, and they start kind of questioning some of the bizarre religious dogma that the Catholic Church has. And then you've got your B plot, which is fucking brilliant, where we pick up with Satan after the events of the South Park film,
where he was the lover of Saddam Hussein,
the lover of
Iraqi
Saddam,
despot,
who he kills at the end of the film, and clearly the worst breakup in the history of motion pictures. And he's together with a nice stable young man called Chris. He's probably a nice stable young man called Chris.
A parody of sort of 90s sort of liberal types. He's vegetarian, he's very understanding, never takes any...
Doesn't take any stand against anything.
Yeah, he's very understanding. Or he wants basically to be like he's like the nicest man ever, but the problem with Satan's got nice guy, friendly dude, not very sexually attractive. Saddam Hussein, Hellcat in the bedroom, bad man.
And Saddam Hussein returns to Satan's life to mess about with his relationship. And honestly, I got so invested in this storyline.
It's just...
I loved it. I got so invested in it. It's so funny.
Well, what's so great about this is that it is just pure surreal.
It's just surreal, yeah. It's like, you know, like Saddam's like, you know, like he does like hula and stuff. And like, I've always loved Satan in South Park. He's always been like one of my favourite like, I don't know, like C-list characters.
Well, it's just sort of like, again, like it's like a workplace comedy about like an incompetent, overly sensitive manager.
yeah. It's a bit like The Office, but like
a bit more likeable.
More likeable characters, yeah. So Satan comes back into Satan's life to basically kind of mess with him and tear him and Chris apart. And part of the humour just comes from like how blazing like Saddam Hussein is.
Yeah.
And like how nice Chris is. You know, like Saddam's constantly calling him like, you know, again, really late 90s, early 2000s, you know, like pussy and that kind of stuff, and you know, and you know, like he's doing everything to draw a wedge between them. Like Saddam knows he's got Satan around his little finger, which that's kind of the crux of the comedy of the episode.
Yeah,
and tempts him away from Chris.
Well, what's actually I think really good on a sort of deeper level and all is that it's obvious that Chris is the nicer guy and stuff.
Yeah,
it's not doing the both sides thing where it's like, you know, he's a pussy, but
like
even though that is the thing they ultimately get to, which is that he's not right for either of them and stuff. It is sort of, I think you are supposed to see Chris as being better than
definitely a nicer and better partner, just not the right person for Satan.
Yeah.
Satan wants a bit of a mix.
Yeah.
Like even after like because there's a great scene where Saddam when he leaves, Chris basically says that, you know, they should have dinner together.
Yeah.
You know, and iron things out, the three of them, and of course Saddam starts blazingly moving on Satan at this dinner, and then when Saddam leaves, he kind of slips Satan like his motel key. It's like, oh yeah, if you want to come over, buddy, just come over. And Satan's like, no, I'm not doing it. And of course he does.
Yeah.
And he goes in just to talk about that. Saddam plies him with drinks, and he wakes up the next morning and he's slept with Saddam, and then he goes back and basically tells Chris, and he's like, it's okay, it's fine. But he wants to go out for a walk with Saddam in the park, and it's just pure kind of like, it's kind of like about, you know, it's great classic style comedy.
Yeah.
Well, like it is absurdist, but like it's kind of like just a really just classic escalation kind of comedy thing where it just keeps on piling up over the course of like the 2 episodes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I was just giggling for like the whole thing. Like it's so stupid, but it really works, and you really get invested.
And there's so many great little details in Hell as well, like Siskel being there.
Gene Siskel, the recently departed Gene Siskel's in there. Yeah.
Walter Matthau.
Walter Matthau. Yeah. Video obvious as like Hitler and Mao and Princess Diana.
Obvious.
Princess Diana's
the monster,
the monster, and the still contemporarily recently departed Princess Diana.
Oh yeah, that would have been what, 98 or something.
Yeah, 98. Yeah, so a couple of years later. Yeah. I've always loved the way they do Hell in South Park. It always just makes me giggle. And you know, then in the episode, you know, we learn that the only true religion is Mormonism. It's Mormonism. They're the only people who can get to heaven.
Well, that's the sort of thing that goes throughout a lot of their work, and all the taking the piss out of Mormonism.
Yeah.
Book of Mormon, famously, is them. Yeah. The next Sunday cinematic service we'll do, which is where we'll talk about the Mormon episode of South Park.
Yeah.
That's seen as a like proper canonical classic. That one as well.
Yeah.
So
that's
really
one of the high points
to revisit.
Yeah. And then like, you know, I think unfortunately though, while I think the A plot with the kids is funny,
I
think it is overshadowed a bit by how good the Satan, Saddam, Chris storyline is.
The A plot, I think, is just a standard.
South Park.
Cartman riles a bunch of people into a frenzy over sort of nothing, basically, to extort money out of them.
But there are some really funny things, and it does point out a lot of the holes, like in Catholic dogma. You know, like you know. So, you know, the episode title is, you know, do disabled people go to hell? They're worried about their friend Timmy. Everyone always says Timmy. But they're afraid that he can't go to confession and confess his sins because all he can say is Timmy. So they're like, oh, what's going to happen to him? And they're all like, don't really have the answer. And then, like, you know, the nun's like, she's trying to be dead nice about it, and she's like, oh, I don't know. And when the priest doesn't help, the local priest doesn't help her, she ends up calling the Pope.
Yeah.
And he's just like this is back when John Paul II was still alive, so he's like a garbling old man. It's like no one's got the answer. And obviously all the really kind of slightly obvious stuff now, you know, like take this for its body of Christ. So what? Christ's body was made out of crackers, and
yeah. Well, it's great because it's just all the sort of sillier stuff as well, and like
because ultimately I don't think the episode ends up falling upon the trap that South Park sometimes does, where each side is stupid. Because spoilers, at the end of the episode, at the end of the two-parter, Jesus turns up to basically give a telling off to Cartman, and basically kind of his whole thing is that, like, you know, like with religion and with Christianity, you know, ultimately we just want to make people happy and make us happy in our own lives. So go do what you want, which is kind of like, you know, that's relatively okay, I think, for some of the other stuff that South Park's done.
Yeah, it's a good, nice message that people should listen
definitely.
to more.
So I mean, as I said, I'd a really I think it's definitely probably one of the better religious satires the show did.
Yeah.
Because I think it does kind of, as we get on, we get a bit more ambitious. I think it starts to muddy the water a bit.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because they stop because like in this and all, it portrays you've got the nun, you know, so sort of friendly, sort of likable face. I think it portrays sort of the hierarchy of it being what's wrong with it, rather than any like the beliefs of individual people, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which I find both funnier and more interesting and stuff. There is actually good people working within this institution.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that makes it less dogmatic than it would get in sort of later ones.
Yeah, and then we of course get I think it's the first appearance in South Park of God.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It's like a Jim Henson-esque Muppet. I loved that. I forgot about that. He's like a Jim Henson-esque Muppet. And he gives like sagely sound advice. And I mean, you know, these are just they're just a really strong pair of episodes. And like I said, a nice reminder of what these guys can do. Yeah. Like what they could do when they were funny.
Yeah.
I mean, they were really funny. Like, yeah. And it's just, they managed to take such... I used to say like South Park was like one of the silliest yet smartest shows on TV. Yeah, it's like one of the dumbest shows, but at the same time, like it's when it was good, I think it definitely veered towards. But it definitely was being one of the more smarter shows on TV. I mean, obviously, you know, we've talked about it before about like how, you know, we have issues with their worldview, their ultimate worldview, that, you know, each side is bad.
Yeah,
each side is stupid.
Well, I suppose it depends. Like the timing, this would have been made now, you know, 2000. Like I suppose there wasn't that many things to be like massively.
That's true, yeah.
But it is that end of history moment again, where, you know, everything's been solved. Let's just do some silly kind of comedy sort of stuff. Like
a silly thing where Saddam Hussein goes out with the devil. Yeah.
Well, Saddam Hussein, you know, he may have been Iraqi despot, but he wasn't the person that, you know, was
who's gone on to you now.
Like now, you know, he's seen as being the person who was the leader of Iraq when it was, you know, invaded, and he was murdered as well by the. You know, he's like the head of the Iraq War, basically. That would have always been before this as well, like.
Oh, I've just remembered the song now. It's called I Can Change, which is referenced in this episode.
Yeah.
They said, I say I can change, and it sounds like, yeah, I've heard all that before. Which I quite like. That's a little callback to the movie.
Yeah. I think early South Park probably is, not the very early stuff, but like, you know, maybe season like 2 to 6 or something like.
I'd say about that, yeah. Like, I think I remember some great episodes like spotted about in the later ones, so like, Season 8, I saw had the one with like the ninja weapons, which is a really fun. That's a really fun episode where like they end up buying like weapons from like, a local dealer. It turns into like an anime and stuff. Like, I really like that one. I think that's fun. Yeah. So I think there are great episodes dotted about. I think it's when we get into like their kind of quote unquote statement episodes, and some of the outdated like attitudes towards like transsexuals and that kind of stuff, where it kind of gets a bit like come on guys, which
is also a bit dodgy considering they're supposed to be libertarians. Like, shouldn't that be like personal freedom and choice and stuff? Like, it's a bit hypocritical.
Well, like, you know, there's the episode where Kyle's dad's like, well, Kyle, I identify as a dolphin, so therefore I'm going to get plastic surgery to turn into a dolphin. It's a bit like, come on guys. Really.
Yeah, and some of it, do you remember the one where he's on blank, what's the thing with a missing letter, and it says N bias GG.
Oh yeah.
I'd like to revisit that to see how that's dated, if that's still funny.
Whereas it's meant to be Naga.
Yeah. He says something very similar.
Yeah. God. Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, because I remember like he's like, you don't know what it's like to be associated with that word and all the later stuff, like.
Yeah.
Again, like, I haven't watched it enough to say what it's like, but I imagine that one maybe not dated well, possibly.
Yeah, I'd imagine so, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, these early ones, yeah, they're like, they don't try and make any statement. It's just sort of great, silly comedy.
Yeah, like it kind of, yeah, just like, and especially like with religious Catholic stuff, like it's just kind of like just good, clever satire.
Yeah.
Like I love the like maybe good at the priest and like they did the confession box stuff. And then they catch the priest later like having like sex in the confession box and just expose him for like the hypocrite that he is, like, you know. Yeah, it's a really well done set of episodes, I think, and real kind of, I think, early gems.
Yeah. Especially, I didn't know anything about these going in. Like I didn't know that they had any. Yeah.
I had seen them.
I don't think I'd seen them before even.
There's certain lines I remember, and like I remember like Chris and stuff, and
yeah,
like vaguely in the back of my mind. But actually, I think there actually is a sequel episode where Saddam turns up like seasons later, and it turns out he's been making like weapons of mass destruction like in heaven.
Is that supposed to be like an Iraq War parody?
Yeah. No, I mean, like, you know, maybe if you got some of the other stuff. Oh, do you remember like the Imagination Land trilogy?
Yeah, is that the one where it's like South Park and Family Guy are there as well? Or?
No.
That's another later one. That's called Cartoon Wars, isn't it?
Yeah, Cartoon Wars is good. In fact, we should probably look at that one at some point, because that's got like depictions of like the Prophet Muhammad.
Oh, right, yeah. Is that a 3-parter?
I think it's a 2-part of that one.
That could be a good pairing, actually, because that's later on as well, so that'd be interesting to see how...
yeah.
And that will bring us to our holy, our god, the Simpsons, because it parodies Bart in that, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, when Bart turns up, yeah. I mean, King of the Hill crops up as well. Like, everyone's in there. Every adult comedy that 20th Century Fox had some involvement in is in there.
Yeah. You remember it being a good one?
I remember enjoying it, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's a really controversial one later where, like, it's like, I think, like, the 200th episode or something, where, like, it's one where the South Park studios actually did get, like, someone tried to attack.
Really?
Yeah, so someone actually did try to bomb the South Park studios.
Wow.
But if I remember, I might be misremembering it, but that's, like, a controversial-ish one much later on.
Oh, right. What's the controversy over?
It's because Muhammad's in it.
Oh, right.
And, like, you know, it's a bit tricky. It's a bit sensitive with the topic, because obviously, like, in Islam, obviously, they don't really depict prophets and their concept of, like, God and that sort of stuff, because it's kind of, like, sacrilegious.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a bit of a no-go
area.
And so the episode's like, well, we've got the Prophet Muhammad, but he's wearing a bear suit. You can't tell that it's the Prophet Muhammad, but he's wearing a bear suit. Yeah. So can we get away with that?
Yeah.
And it kind of came around the time of, like, some, like, nasty stuff with, like, the Belgium.
Oh,
the Belgian artist sewer bomb. It kind of came around that time as well, so it was really, like, a really sensitive topic.
Yeah.
From that time, so that could be an interesting one to.
Yeah.
An interesting and heavy one. So there's loads of religious stuff to unpack in South Park. Like there's loads of it.
It was the what they call it? It's that cartoon, isn't it? Like I can't remember what it is now. Yeah, I remember the thing where the Belgian one. Was that France?
It might have been. Yeah, it was like a Central
Charlie
European.
Hebdo.
Charlie Hebdo.
That's
yeah,
France.
That was it.
Yeah,
France.
It's like the France version of Private Eye.
Yeah. So they got attacked and. So and then South Park kind of also did their thing, so it kind of came in a bit of a whirlwind of that particular time.
Yeah.
But there is quite a lot to talk about with religion in South Park. I mean, this 2-parters, keeps it fairly uncontroversial.
Good intro to it then.
It's definitely good. Yeah, it's definitely a good introduction because it is fairly uncontroversial, because I think pretty much everyone accepts now that there are contradictions in Catholic dogma.
Yeah.
There's plenty of weird stuff.
Yeah. And it's bad to teach children that they're going to go to hell if they don't strictly obey one small.
Well, yeah, I mean, like that concept of which is kind of unique to Catholicism, that idea of original sin.
Yeah.
Because Eve took the apple from the Garden of Eden, she introduced sin into the world. Yeah. So any humans born into this world are inherently sinful. So you've got to spend your life atoning for your inherent sin.
Yeah.
Which is pretty nasty, I think.
Fucked up, yeah.
It's pretty fucked up, yeah. So that idea that, everything you do is bad, and you've got to do everything you can to atone for your sins. Otherwise, you don't get into heaven.
Yeah.
It's
pretty awful.
It is really, yeah. So I think South Park takes a fairly I suppose now a fairly uncontroversial opinion, but a lot of stuff is pretty messed up. I imagine maybe for like early 2000s.
Yeah.
You know, but still, I think religion and Christianity definitely was probably like slightly more widespread.
Yeah, I think it's more recent that atheism's become more and more like.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they are atheists, Matt and Trey.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, I think I have a feeling that they're Jewish. You know.
Really?
Yeah.
Like culturally or like actually religiously? Like do they observe like holy traditions and stuff?
Let me check. I have a feeling that they're both Jewish.
Ah, that's interesting.
Let's take a look. Trace down Matt Parker. Jewish. Actually, it might be one of them.
Orgasmo, have you ever seen that?
Orgasmo. Yeah.
Is it actually good?
Is it one where Carmen dresses up like a
No,
robot?
Orgasmo is a film.
Oh, sorry, no. I think of a robot.
Mormon becomes a porn star, I think.
Yeah. So he's of Irish American heritage from his father's side and Jewish heritage from his mother's side, wherever he grew up. Stone has described himself as Jewish on account of being, on account of his mother being Jewish. Regarding his belief, he identifies as being an atheist. But all this is interesting, yeah. So politically, Stone describes himself as libertarian. Stone summed up his views of a comment: "I hate conservatives, but I really fucking hate liberals."
Nice.
And let's check Trey Parker. No, he's oops. No, it's just Matt Stone. Let's see if we can peruse. Interesting, yeah. So this is something else he said. This is what Trey Parker said. What we're sick of, and it's getting even worse, is you either like Michael Moore or you want to go fucking overseas and shoot Iraqis. There can't be a middle ground. Basically, if you think Michael Moore's full of shit, then you're a super Christian right wing whatever, and we're both pretty middle grounded guys. We find just as many things to rip on the left as we do on the right. People on the far left and the far right are the exact same person to us.
I think that's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
I can understand him saying that they have equal things to take the mick out of, but saying they're the same person's pretty silly.
Yeah.
Like that stupid horseshoe theory that some people believe.
Yeah, because there's just as ridiculous things on the left as people can say, and just as very ridiculous stuff that people on the right can say. Yeah, I do think it's right that satire should be open to both.
Yeah.
Quote unquote sides. Like if you have your satire coming from someone who's fairly left-leaning, of course it's going to be damning of the far right, and then probably vice versa.
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying in that, like, we're fairly middle-grounded, so we think there's satire for both, but to say it's for both the same people.
That's the problem with sort of the statement as well, yeah.
Yeah.
And to say that, like, Michael Moore's as far, like, to the left as you can get was, like, the most middle-of-the-road figure possible, like, yeah.
He does have some interesting things to say about religion, though.
He believes in God, doesn't he?
Yeah, Trey Parker expressed his views on religion, saying he believes in a God, and that there is knowledge that humanity does not yet possess, while cautioning that it would take a long time to explain exactly what he meant by his belief in God. Parker believes all religions are silly. He states that all religions are super funny to me. The story of Jesus makes no sense to me. God sent his only son. Why could God only have one son, and why would he have to die? It's just bad writing, really. And it's really terrible in the second act. Parker further remarked. Basically, I have all ridiculous religion stories which are greatly, wonderfully ridiculous. The silliest one I've ever heard is, there's this big giant universe and it's expanding, and it's all going to collapse on itself, and we're all just here just cause. That, to me, is the most ridiculous explanation ever. So then, so even, like, the concept of there being no, like, God, he finds troubling, like, So, alright, well, that's interesting. Probably a good way to get us launched for, I guess, it's a sub-series of Sunday Cinematic Service where...
We'll cover some South Park. I think South Park is, like... It sits in a perfect, like... Because it lasted so long, and you can see the evolution of their sort of thinking throughout the show. Like, we found this because it's the first... as you say, first instance of God in the show.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good one to launch into, and Yeah, next we'll either do the Mormon one or the Imagination Land one.
Imagination Land.
If it's a two-part, I think that'd be good to do next.
You get mixed up there. That two-part is it's called it's cartoon. Imagination Land.
Yeah.
Imagination Land has it where.
Is that the George Lucas one?
No, it's the one where. It's where they discover there's a world for all your imaginary characters, all your favourite fictional heroes and villains are there. Have you seen it?
I think I have.
It's really
good.
Is
that not the one where George Lucas and Steven Spielberg rape Indiana Jones?
No. That's a different one. But no. And then the kids get there, and it's great because all their favourite childhood heroes are there. And then a bunch of terrorists bomb Imagination Land, and then it unleashes all the evil characters from fiction into the world. And there's a great scene where it's like after the bomb goes off and Kyle's like readjusting to the world, and it's all ruined, but there's like decapitated Care Bears and Ronald McDonald's looking for his arm and stuff. It's so funny.
Alright, we like South Park again.
Yeah, as I said, for me, it's just the episodes that rub me the wrong way that I've stuck in my mind for some reason.
Yeah.
But now that I'm actually properly being critical and thinking about my opinion of the show, I think I ultimately maybe have a slightly more complicated relationship with South Park than I initially realised.
Yeah.
Now that I'm all quote unquote woke, you know what I mean? Maybe I shouldn't like South Park, but a part of me still finds it really funny.
It's never as bad as something like Family Guy.
No, I wouldn't say so. No.
Like, do you remember the slog it was to watch that episode, the rape apologist one that we watched?
Yeah. A long time ago.
That was just pure hell. I don't think I could imagine a TV episode worse than that, to be honest.
Yeah. Is that the one where Glenn's
sister? Yeah. And it's he
basically blames her for her domestic abuse because she's irritating.
Yeah, it's stuff like that, and saying that, and in the end, basically, they just kill him.
Yeah. And
that's the solution to the problem, is murder him, basically. But yeah, she's really annoying, and she lies all the way through about it, and it's won't this bitch just say what's actually bothering her and all this? It's the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's not great.
Deeply offensive, but I think South Park is usually apart from stuff with there's a few the Man Bear Pig one's an infamous example. Yeah, there
are some where we talked about it before, where because of how reactionary they are, sometimes they do miss the mark.
Yeah.
Well, they talk about Man Bear Pig, the now transphobic episode.
Yeah.
There's a few episodes of that where it definitely becomes outdated.
But I'm excited to watch more of them.
I actually am. Yeah, I am generally interested in kind of what I think about these episodes now that I'm older.
Yeah.
But as I said, I think when the show gets it right, it's really funny, and when it misses the mark, it really misses the mark. So anyway, tune in for more.
Yeah.
I suppose our next one we're going to look at will be the Cartoon Wars one. Did we say?
If it's two-parter,
the Cartoon Wars one is definitely the two-parter. Yeah, definitely.
Let's do that then. We'll do another two-parter, and we'll see how it holds up. Later seasons. Let's hope it's as funny.
Yeah, cool. See you later.